Oh my god. No. It's been out for decades! This is probably a really old joke, isn't it? I am, of course, referring to the 1962 classic King Kong vs. Godzilla, and not the 2021 Godzilla vs. Kong. Thanks, Legendary. Not at all confusing. After I finished Godzilla Raids Again, I realized that I kind of gave myself a bit of a time crunch, and I wouldn't be able to fit all the movies all in one go. So I've been a little stressed lately, hence the hair. But I am hoping that I don't this line. But I'm still hoping to make the deadline in time for the movie. So let's go ahead and visit the 1962 classic and not the 2021 version, seeing as how that's time travel. And we get into that a little later.
Okay. Upon rewatch, this has a very strange narrative structure. Where in every other movie we follow maybe one or two characters, this one has the opening moments of Starship Troopers, where the audience is more of a viewer being informed of the things happening by the United Nations. And also space. We keep getting interviews with these people that keep giving us information about the world, the stats, the facts, and everything coming up with the monsters in the movie. And this one guy who can't say reptile to save his life.
Reptile.
Anyway, let's get this plot started proper. Seriously, how can this guy have a doctorate? In an attempt to get higher ratings, Mr. Taco, the head of a major television studio, wants a monster. So he sends... Oh god, I need to practice these names. Samu Sakurai and Kinsabaru... That's a fun one to say. I might keep this in as a joke. Kinsabaru Furui to go to Faroe Island to get him one. While these two go off and find their sought-after monster, a freak submarine accident awakens Godzilla, who threatens to lay waste to Tokyo once again.
Meanwhile, on Faroe Island...
Sorry, I couldn't resist. King Kong is discovered, locked in combat with a giant squid. Kong eventually comes out on top and drives the scary pseudopod back to the briny deep. Uncle Kong gets himself a little bit drunk and passes right the hell out. And he gets a free trip to Tokyo! We should only be so lucky. Kong is eventually brought to his adversary. And the first fight is comedically one-sided, leaving Kong scratching his head like, how the hell am I even gonna do anything against that? Eventually, we do get to a round 2, and it looks like it's the last round for Kong as Godzilla tail whips him into unconsciousness. That is, until a literal act of God, or perhaps in this case Zeus, Kong is revived via lightning bolts to the freaking face and allows him the win over Godzilla. The win itself is actually a bit ambiguous, and for decades, there was debate over who actually won. Short of a throwaway line about Godzilla suddenly being weak to electricity and Kong getting a boost from electricity, this win has always felt kind of odd to me. I have no doubt that I'm biased towards #Team Godzilla, and I have no problem conceding to that fact, but this win has really never set right with me. Well, with this colossal clash, I count 2 worthwhile additions to our roster. First up, let's start with the appetizer. Some killer calamari, or perhaps a few more tentacles, and we'll call him a giant octopus. That's right, folks, we're going to move all the way to the back of the monster manual. Page 326. In terms of stats, this thing is pretty straightforward from what we see in the movie. We'll start with the old faithful gargantuan size upgrade. I think a slight armor boost might be needed too. I'm thinking about jumping it all the way up to 18. Seems to make sense. Let's also boost that HP up to 80. Let's also accommodate for this leap attack that we see. I'll admit, this concept gave me a bit of a runaround. At first I thought about using the engulf technique, like what you might expect to see in an ooze or a shambling mound, but that implies it's trying to envelop the target, which I don't think our fiendish friend here is trying to do. Strangely enough, my answer came in the form of a bullet, a prominently ground-based creature. Let's look at Deadly Leap. In terms of what we see on screen, I think we can use these stats to better withstand Kong as opposed to its simple base stats. I can practically hear the comments now, "Too weak, need more." I mean, this is the best part of the game. You can build off of what I've made here and make your own thing. That's kind of what this whole series is about. More to the point, I'd love to see you guys make this better. Let me see what you've got. But for now, let's get to the 8th wonder of the world. Seriously, he gets drunk and passes out all the time? I see very little difference between him and Robert Barack.
King Kong.
Alright, my monster manual has a lot of ape-like creatures to choose from. And I thought about boosting the stats and making a quick trip to Volo's guide to the monster called a Gorillion. But it didn't really feel like Kong, and I felt like I kind of ripped on him a little bit too hard this episode. So as an apology, I'm gonna use something I think matches him in terms of sheer power and visuals. I think the Bulgara is exactly what we're looking for. Ex-nay the Tarzan loincloth. Give him some black fur and we're off to a great start. He already looks the part. As per usual, we're giving him the Gargantuan upgrade. We're also going to be taking out the demonic element, as Kong is simply no way demonic in this movie. And much like every creature so far, he's not really going to have an alignment. The AC? Let's boost it and stick with the traditional 20, shall we? HP. If he's going to be fighting Godzilla, he's going to need a boost in that too. And since I've been kind of mean, and again, I still kind of feel a little bad, I'm going to give him the Tarrasque's HP of 676. That is a scary monkey. And we aren't even done yet. With everything we've seen in the movie, the base stats don't appear to need too much tweaking. So this is actually kind of interesting. Thanks to the Bulgara's demonic history, it has resistance to fire, and since Kong gets hit directly in the chest, we see that he does have fire resistance or even immunity. Interesting still, he can't be poisoned, so the radiation sickness that we gave Godzilla in the first episode doesn't actually hurt him in any way. Also, we're gonna go ahead and take away his ability to speak. Oh boy! Innate spellcasting. Crap, even I'm learning things here. Sadly, none of these spells match up to what we see in the movie, but I have an idea on what we can give him. Oh yes. For now, let's look at attacks. I like everything here, but we are missing something. Let's go to Kong's buddy the trees for the answer to this one. A tree actually has a very great ability titled Rock. You can go to a stone giant if you want, but somehow the trees have a better chance to hit. Well, there's only one thing left, I think, the spells. And I think it's only fair that we give him Shocking Grasp.
Kong Shocking Grasp.
There, is that better? Yeah, I think a cantrip is just a little too weak here. I think we need to give it the proper boost. If we do that, we can recreate what we see in the movie. Let's boost it from a somewhat pitiful 1d8 to a 1d20, and allow him to upcast a 2d20 at the risk of losing his next spell. I'm also thinking at giving him haste. I don't know about you, but Kong seems to lose his damn mind after he gets god-rezzed. He looks a lot faster and stronger, so I think haste fits this pretty well. Let's make this interesting. Let's make this something that happens after he's already lost his HP and is dropped to 0. And then just give him half of his HP back. You know, he's just only stuck with 300 plus HP, you know, he'll be fine. Reusing the idea from the first episode, the party could stumble upon information about Kong and come to the conclusion that he could be a deterrent against Godzilla. Give them a real Ken Watanabe, let them fight action. In the party's research, they could discover Faroe Island and rumors of an ancient god roaming the lands, and try and find a way to bring him to the mainland to fight this awful creature. At the very least, the spectacle of the fight would be awesome for your players to witness. Perhaps the giant octopus can make an appearance as Kong's unconscious body is just hanging out and the octopus could try and eat him as an easy meal. Woo! That's a doozy of a build. I think we gave King Kong a worthwhile upgrade, and who knows, maybe he gives the King of the Monsters a fight to remember at the very least. What are your thoughts? Hit me up in the comments below. Have you made your own monster with the same idea? I'd love to hear what you've got to say. Next week, I'm going to be swinging out the first of many multi-movie breakdowns. So expect it to run a little bit longer, or perhaps expect to see a few videos in a single day in your feed. I haven't quite figured it out yet, but you can expect the Queen to grace us with her presence, a giant bird monster, and a psychopath from space, as well as a few others as we cover Mothra vs. Godzilla, Ghidorah the three-headed monster, and Monster Zero. The idea being that the roster changes very little between these three films, and I'm trying to make my self-imposed deadline. Thank you again for sticking with me for so long. I do appreciate the support, and continue to be good to yourselves out there, guys.
Godzilla has a brain about this size, while Kong is a thinking animal.